Alright, party people, we're going in again. This is kind of an editing part 2 intermediate bonus stuff. I'm going to show you how to edit to the beat, how to do a little time changing, like, slow down, ramp up to speed, that kind of thing. And then we'll get into audio adjustments, background noise removal, hum removal, that kind of stuff. Just simple stuff, but I'm going to dive right in and show it to you. So if you want to know, here it is. So let's get to it. First thing I'm going to show you is how to edit to a beat. It's pretty simple. It's a nice way to create a quick montage, and it's quite easy. I'm working here in the same edit demo project that we created in the last video. Jump back into my project library, you'll see that it's just right here under Little Boy Drew, edit demo, right here. Now, I'm going to clear this out so we can edit to a beat. Edit, edit, edit. I'm also going to close this window by clicking whatever's blue over here. It's a pretty quick way to tell what you're looking at. Toggle it off, it's gone. Shift Z, remember what Shift Z does? Shows me everything top to bottom on that timeline. Now I can drag a marquee across everything if I want to delete and lift it all out of there. But I can also, if my cursor is down here and I'm clicked down here, Command A is kind of a universal thing for select all. You notice that? Select all. Now that I've got it, delete, get it out of there. I'm going to bring in some music and I'm going to bring in some pictures. So to do that, I'm going to show you yet one more way that you can bring things in. I am using Command Tab to cycle through all my programs that are open. That's just a Mac style. Control Tab, I believe, on a PC does the same thing. I just keep tapping Tab while I hold down Command to get to what I want. I've got a bunch of pictures here in a folder that I apparently am calling, oh, that's cute, Costco June. And I'm going to take a look at most of these, grab a couple that are relevant, and select them all. It shows me I have 32 selected, so I just click and drag, and I'm going to drag them up. And I can't drop them here, and this to me honestly would be like the ideal place to drop them, because it's like, oh look, I got space. No, I have to bring it up into an event. So notice I'm bringing this all the way up to where it says editing demo, and that gives me a little drop arrow, and now it's moving all of those files into editing demo and shows me dates that they were taken. It's sorted by dates, so you'll see here that this is one of the clips that I just barely dropped in. Oh, hope these are all appropriate for class. Looks like it's just all my princesses ready for a dance recital. Okay, so I have a lot of those in there. That's a great and easy way to get things in. Just drag and drop. Depending on the preferences that are set within Final Cut, those may be actually getting copied to the event folder, and they may be not copied at all, which means you have to keep track of those files should you want to revisit and edit this again. You can check that in your preferences. Final Cut Pro, preferences, for import here, import, organizing, copy files to the folder. That's going to make a copy of everything. If that was on, it would actually duplicate every one of those pictures and put it into the event folder so it would never get lost. With that being off, I have to make sure that this folder called Costco June stays in the same place if I ever want to revisit this edit. For me, that's fine. I don't need double of everything. I also threw in here, just for ease, the song that I want to use, which is Audio for Sizzler. Not the steakhouse. Sizzle as in sizzle reel. So I'm going to drag that one up and again, drop it on editing demo, and bring it into my project here. There it is. So let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is make that audio my primary track. We've talked about this a few times, so before I drop that, let's reiterate. If audio is driving your piece, as in a montage, as in a storyline that is based on audio, as in edit points that come from an audio, track, it should go in your primary storyline, right? Not underneath, not on top. It needs to go right there, because that's where you're going to be making your edits, and that's what you want all of your pictures to stick to. If you do pictures first in the primary storyline, every move you make with a picture readjust the timing of where the other pictures land. So primary audio should be what drives your story, and it should be in the primary storyline there. Now, remember, audio doesn't come with like video sizes. a song does not have a screen size, right? We talked about 720p, 1080p, sizes like that. Audio doesn't have that, so Final Cut says, well, this is what you're giving me, and I can't set a standard based on this audio file, so tell me what it is. For the most part, everything that we do, you're just fine doing 1080p, which is 19 by 20, and then dropping this back down to 30p. We talked about what all those mean. This is pretty standard right here. 1080p. This is for our cameras again, what we shoot with. 1080p, 1920 by 1080, 30p is this rate. I hit OK, and it just remembers that. What I did was I told this timeline down here, at Shift C so I can see everything. This little area right here, everything that goes down in this area is now going to be full size HD at 30 frames a second. That's what I want. So that's perfect. Here we go, edit to music tip number 1. Let's listen to this bad boy. Spacebar to play. Again, I use this for demo reels and fun stuff. A little slow build here. Here it comes, wait for it. Yay! The reason why I like this track is because it's got some pretty good beats that just kind of hit dun 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 dun. So how do we edit to a beat? Here's your special trick of the day. It helps if you have nothing else on the line, but if you do, you want to make sure that your video or your audio is highlighted in yellow, just to be certain that your markers are going to land here. Here's the trick. The M key drops a marker. I'll zoom in so you can see it. See that little blue marker right there? Boop, 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 boop. I can click on it. I can double click on it. I can delete it if I want to. I can give it a name. I can add a bookmark. I mean, it's all sorts of things I can do. I actually turn this into something that I use in a DVD later on. That's getting crazy. Right now I'm going to delete that one. And I'm going to show you how I mark a song for a montage edit and for a kind of cut into the beat. Shift Z so I can see it all. Back it up about 5 seconds so I'll be ready. I'm going to tap M with the beat as the song plays. So I hit spacebar to go, and on the fly I'm tapping M. Watch for the markers to land. Okay, nice and easy. They look pretty uniform here. They may or may not be exactly where they need to be, but when I tap M, it drops a marker. I was tapping on a certain part of that rhythm. I don't even know what kind of drum it was. The one that went pop? Yeah. I don't know, it was like, it's not even a snare. It's a tom. That's it. I was marking one of the toms. But now look what I can do. I can zoom in with my Command plus. And I've got a handful of marks here that by looking up here at this number, I can tell how far apart they are. We go from 1729 to 1824 to 1921. These are looking about 25 frames apart, just roughly. So that's nice. Now, what does that do for us? How does that help us? Well, key to this little effect that we're doing here is this button right here, snapping. Without snapping, your pictures, as you pull them down and in, they're going to go anywhere and land anywhere. Cute. The cute kid with a duck. Take that out. Doesn't do me any good until I turn snapping on. Okay? Now, let's say that for this particular cutting to the beat, I just want to drop a bunch of pictures in each of these little 1 second increments. So I'll highlight one. I'll grab about a second. I'm going to grab my hand, drag it down. Snapping is on, so look what happens. Every marker drops a little yellow line. Oh, that's perfect. Go to another picture. I'm just grabbing a second up here, but you could grab a whole 10 seconds if you wanted. Again, drag it over, find another marker. Now that one's sitting on top of that guy, and for now I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to grab another one, bring it down, marker, next one, down, marker. Couple of ways to do this, right? I could grab 3 at a time if I want and bring them all down, and they're all going to be, I'll zoom out so you can see it, these are all 10 seconds apiece. Oh, that's so long. I only need 1 second or 25 frames, so I'll highlight them all, do a right click and tell it to change the duration. Since they're all highlighted, I'm changing the duration for all of them. Notice that when I did that, this number here disappeared and kind of changed. It's waiting for an input, and I will type 25 for 25 frames. I can type 100 for 1 second. I can type 200 for 2 seconds. Hit enter. Look what just happened. Bing, bing, bing. They're all now 1 second clips. Because I've got that snapping turned on, I'm going to bring them each into one of these markers. Now, this is something to notice. I'm zoomed so far out, I'm not quite sure where those dropped. So, I'll just park my playhead, Command plus so I can get a little closer, slide over, and you know what, I missed the marks, so I'm just going to back them up, wait to see that yellow snap, whoop, and that one's pretty close, yellow snap. I'm looking for it to snap. Let's go back and clean these up. Remember what I told you about trimming the ends? I just grab the end, slide it over till it snaps. Make sure that this one snaps to the end of that one, and grab the end of this and pull it over till it snaps with that one. And look, it falls right neatly into line. Same here. I'm going to mark this one on that one. This guy's kind of getting in the way because he's too long. He's not ending by the time this marker hits, so I'll back him up. Now this guy can't come down into the right lane until I shrink him to fit between those two marks. This one's short by a little bit. I don't want that black hole. This one's short. There's a little black hole right here. I don't want that, so I'm going to... Actually, that one's on the mark, so I'm going to extend this one to meet that one. You see how we're doing this there? We just hit all of those on the markers. And I should really watch some of these pictures before I drag them down. I have no idea where they're coming from. Cute kits, though, right? I mean, something I got going for me. This time I'm just going to cut the blade in there, hit my A key to turn back to an arrow, click on the rest of it, lift it out with a big delete key. See if there's any other pictures that I really want. Oh, look at this. Kids are cute. So, let's pretend I'm making a little project for the rest of my family to see. Notice I'm just hitting every one of those right on the marker. This one didn't hit the marker. Look at that. It's off. So, I grab this one and slide it over. Grab this one, match it without leaving any black in the middle. Notice if I keep pulling, it will jump under. But if I park it together, it will land properly. I'm going to use my up arrow to step back to the beginning of this little process. And then hit play so that you can see and feel the cutting on the Get the feel? You like what you see? There you go. All I can think of is, who gives an 18-month-old duck? Oh, they loved it. Had such a great time. Okay, last little bit that I'm going to show you here. That was easy, right? So essentially, as I hit Shift-Z to zoom out, you could do that for a long section of a music montage or a short section of any sort of highlight video. It's really simple to do. What you're doing is marking the beats and then dragging your footage and files to land within those marks. And if they're off, it's very simple to readjust them on the line. I will show you a quick bit of slipping, I believe. Not sure how many of these I have or what parts these are. But I guess I can kind of show you what slipping does. So let's go to the end of the music here so we're not competing with the music. I have a clip here where I wait for a little while and my little girl reaches in, she grabs her pen and paper and gets out a frame for me. Good. Now let's say I've edited this piece and it's in the middle of a couple other pieces and it's exactly where it needs to be, as long as it needs to be, and let's try she looks there, down the hall. Okay, so let's say I've got these timed out, and because I'm on my timeline, let me zoom in a little. Again, just down here. Let's say that I really have everything right where I want it to be. Well, if things are timed out the way you want them to be, but the clip isn't showing what you want it to show, instead of dragging things to make them longer or shorter, you can use something we call the trim tool. which again, I come up to my toolbar here, I'll grab trim, a little advanced here, but trim will let me pick a certain frame and move it without changing the size of the container, the location of the container. Watch here as I say, I want to take this and make it my first frame. So I'm going to click here. I can see her hand coming in, so I'm going to click here and start dragging. Notice that I'm moving the file within that container. Nothing's changing time-wise on my timeline. I'm just moving it to wherever I want and letting go. And now this particular action starts with her hand in the hand, gets a pen and almost gets out. Same with this one here. If I see too much door, but I don't want to change with, I don't want to change what I see. I'll watch some of that. It's close. Maybe a little longer. If I'm not seeing the parts that I want to see, I can click and drag it without changing the timing on this one. That's the trim tool, okay? Helps a lot when you've timed things out and you don't really want to adjust time on a clip, even by a frame. If it's timed out with other things, slipping it will offer some help. This is playing kind of slow because I'm also recording the screen capture, but here you get the idea. Pretty simple. Slipping, nice and easy. I've used it on occasion. It comes in handy when you need it, but honestly, if you don't need it, you don't need it. Stick with your arrow tool and you adjust your frames here or here and put them where they need to be. Trim tool, which is shortcut T, just allows you to move things inside of a set time frame. Okay? Alright, first things last, here we go. I'm going to show you a quick bit about how to adjust timing on a clip, as in slow it down, speed it up, and then we'll do some quick audio adjustments and get out of here. So, timing is thusly. I've got a clip here where she grabs a piece of paper. Let's say that clip is going too slow for me. I highlight it with yellow and I come over to this button right here, which is the time button. I have options here to slow it down slower, make it faster, put it back to normal, or even put a pause in it. And I will show you some of these in a minute. Let's say I want to make it faster, so I go fast, make it 2 times, watch what happens to the clip. Same beginning and end frame. The action is the same beginning and end. What I've done is I've made it happen 2 seconds, or 2 times as fast. Okay. Again, you have to render to play this out smoothly, but you can see that if you try it on your own timeline, this is going to happen much faster than the original. Right? Did you see that? 200 times the speed. I can do this little drop down here and actually adjust it again, and I can move it from here or back up here. Same thing. Now it's set to go 400 times the speed, which means that within 1 second she does all the add action. I'm going to zoom in, Command plus, so you can see a little closer what I'm talking about. Dragging here is going to change the out point of the clip. Dragging up here, now that it's here, the retiming section, will change the speed. Watch what happens when I pull it out. The out point of the clip is not changing, but I've changed how fast it happens down to 272%. I'm going to drop this down to normal so we can adjust this so you can see kind of what's happening. Zoom out so you can see front to end. There. Retiming has its own handle on the end, and as you go shorter, it makes the clip faster. It tells you this is 140% faster. Or if you go past normal, it goes slower. This is 65% slower. Alright, so it slows it down. That's just some simple retiming. I'll put this one back to normal real quick and show you a quick option for, I'll close that out even, show you how to do a hold. If for instance you get to a clip and you want it to stop at exactly a certain point, you park your playhead on that exact point, make sure that the clip is yellow, drop down to hold or shift H, and it puts like a 2-second pause right in the middle. So I'll play that, normal, hold, resume. Again, I have the handle so I can spin, I can change time on this end, I can change time here for how long did that hold take. If I don't want it to come back to normal, I just close the clip up and say, all right, don't come back to normal. Just hold indefinitely. Right, so there's my hold. That's a really simple kind of retiming option. Let's see what I've got right here. I'll take this in the way. It. Say I have a clip here where she's walking down the hall and I want it to like slow down to nothing. I can click on it and I have an option down here called speed ramp. Speed ramp down to 0. Notice what it did. 4 sections, one at 88, one at 63, 38, 12, hold. I can grab the hold and make the hold longer. And if it were to render and we watch this whole thing, she'd be walking 3/4 speed, half speed, quarter speed, no speed, all the way down. Play with that one if you want. It could make sense for some of your edits in the future. Probably not on your video 1 project. Probably not on your video 2 project. But if you want to watch some of these, and slow, and slow, and freeze. Okay, those are some fun retiming things. Wow, we're already hitting 20 minutes again. This is so much fun. I could do this all day long. Let's hit one last thing. Okay, one last thing that I want to show you, and I'm going to need some sort of dialogue for this. Do I have any here? Oh boy. There we go. How about this guy? Let's make some room down here. I'm going to highlight these and delete them. I don't need them, so I'm just going to delete, bring them out. Put this one down on the line so we can talk audio real quickly. Play it through so you know what I'm saying.
Hold for 5 seconds on the thing that is interesting at the end of the pane.
Perfect. So, audio adjustment, I highlight the clip, and I use my inspector, but I'm not changing, transforming the size or the position, the scale, the crop. I'm not doing any of that, but I do want to adjust the audio. So as long as that's yellow, I have a whole tab up here just for audio. I click audio, it gives me a couple options. I can boost the audio up to 12 decibels. Notice that I do this, there's a black line right here that moves with me. If I push it to 12 here, it's moving to 12 up in the upper right. Watch it. If I move this one in the upper right, the black line is doing what it wants to do down there. So they correspond. Sometimes boosting that 12 isn't enough.
Thing that is interesting at the end of the pan.
That's decent, but maybe not loud enough. Notice also as I'm playing through that I can watch my audio meters right here. Good place to be is in this place between -6 and 0. If you can hit this, you're golden. If you're not hitting that
is interesting at the end of the pan.
Like this is like mediocre, it'll work, but it's not the loudest. You know, it's not an average loudness. Especially if you're going to YouTube, people expect things to come in at a certain level. This is it right here between 0 and -6. And if those aren't open, by the way, you can click right here because there's a mini set of meters. So meters, you can put those on. I almost always have them on. So other ways to do audio, I'm going to highlight that again, yellow. Look up here. This is one way, crank it. You can adjust your pan by going left, right, different kind of pan modes. Pan being like left ear, right ear, what side you hear it on. You can change the EQ by saying, you know what, this is good, but I think I need a little more bass. I just added bass to this whole track.
Thing that is interesting at the end of the pan.
Good, that makes me sound more manly, so that's nice. And I'm going to show you that if I had something that for some reason maybe recorded only left or only right, under channel configuration I could drop this down to a dual mono and it would bring the same trick. I'll drop this down. It'll basically play the same thing out both sides.
When I get into editing,
now you can see that these meters bounce the exact same, whereas in our stereo mode,
3 shots that I can use.
Oh, it's because I recorded stereo. You would see them bouncing separately. That's it. Okay, final thing that I'll show you on this, very simply, again, yellow. You have this enhanced audio here, and you have an EQ here. If you know anything about an EQ, feel free to click that and do some adjustments on this end. Don't have to do it. Put this back to flat so it's basic. This is where you will find loudness, background noise removal, and hum removal. 3 things that can help video audio kind of match up and be of quality. Notice that it does a quick analyzing of your clip and says to me, this could be louder. We don't detect a lot of background noise, and we don't detect a hum. This hum, notice it has a picture of a light socket there. I'll turn it on so you can see it. Certain electric frequencies add a hum to your video that can be taken out to some degree of cleanness by turning on the hum removal. Don't turn it on if you don't need it. So we'll listen to this.
When I get into editing, I have 3 shots that I can use. I can use this.
Watch what happens when I turn on loudness. It's preset here at what it thinks would be good for me. Like, okay, that's going to be 50%, and your uniformity across the whole clip will be 10%, but it really did make it extra loud. In fact, I could bring this back down to 0.
When I get into editing, I have 3 shots that I can use. I can use this.
My audio is feeling louder, and if I want to adjust these to make it even louder, I can see that reflected in the waveform below. You do not want, I'll pull this up so you can see it, do not want to see red and yellow peaks. Listen to the difference when you have red and yellow peaks.
When I get into editing, I have 3 shots that I can use. I can use
red means it's losing information. It's so loud that it's just clipping off the tops and you're not getting a clean sound. So I want to bring those down just to the tips. A couple of yellow tips are okay.
In the editing, I have 3
good audio, loud enough, but not too loud. So don't go much past that. If you start getting yellow and red tips, you're too high. It's too high. You want it to be just right. So there's a combo there between your decibel raising and turning on this loudness. As soon as I turned that off, look what happened. Lost it. My levels dropped significantly. So I'll turn that back on. And background noise will take out any sort of hum or hiss.
Get it? I can use the portion in the middle where I'm moving, and I can use the portion on the end because it should be just as well framed.
You see how that kind of sounds like a robot? If you take out too much background noise, it actually cuts into the voice and makes it sound robotic.
On the end, because it should be...
But I can play this in real time, so I'm going to hit play and go move those meters, or move that slider. Listen.
On the end, because it should be just as well framed and just as composed as the front shot. So I have 3 choices in my edits, not just the one.
Off.
Sometimes when we say we're doing a pan or a tilt, zoom, hit record, and just start moving the camera. It's like, that's something neat over there, and that's pretty neat over there.
Okay, so background noise removal takes the level of that kind of background hiss or hum or noise room noise or whatever you've got there, and it tries to analyze that every step of the way and pull it out without affecting your voice. That's why you don't really want to push this too high in the percentage, because it starts to pull things right out of your voice.
We don't think about it. Take time to think about it. That's why...
Sounds like I'm in a metal box. You don't want to go that far. Now, again, let me emphasize to you this one thing before we close up this advanced little bit. These are not to fix your screw-ups when you shoot, or you have bad audio, or you screw up and get the wrong microphone so you have a loud gnat sound. These are here to clean up good audio. This is here to add a little polish and professionalism to what you're shooting. These are not here to save your butt. So use them when you need them, but I can tell when you've applied them, and so if you haven't shot things properly, I will be able to tell that you haven't shot things properly and that you've applied some filters. So that's one thing that I want to bring to your attention, that use them to clean up good audio, but editing is very much a garbage in, garbage out process. You can't bring in something that was shot with garbage, it has bad noise, bad audio, bad picture, bad lighting, and hope that your editor is going to be able to fix it and make magic with it. Shoot your best stuff, record your best stuff, use this to sweeten it, okay? Gotcha. Think that, last thing, I'll cover filters real quick. Here they are, filters, that tab right there. If you need to add some filters under the audio tab, you have EQ filters, echo filters if you want to get crazy. Again, don't do these in your projects, I'll beat you. I'll beat you with a little stick. I just drag groove delay over to this. Now listen.
That's something neat over there, and that's pretty neat over there. We don't think about it.
That was pretty groovy. That showed up here under effects. I can click it once, hit delete and get rid of it, and I can find a different type of delay if I want. I can sample it just by hovering and hit and play.
Middle one, the portion in the middle one.
There's delay designer here. I can change this down to maybe modulation, go to chorus. Again, I'm just sampling these by hit and play,
so I have 3 choices,
which is spacebar.
It's not just the one.
Yeah, this is fun.
Just as composed as the front shot. So I have 3.
Okay, any one that I want, I just drag over and drop it onto my clip and add it. So those are audio effects filters. Same thing you can do here with video. If I want to do something with video, I can hover. I'm just hovering, not even clicking anything. I'm just hovering, and I can click and drag and add them to any clip. When I click on that clip and it's yellow, it shows up in the inspector. I just added a video filter, so I'll come over to the video, and sure enough, at the top there's aged paper, and I can change what's getting aged, nice, and how much so. Okay, again, that's just a quick bit about filters, and there's tons of filters in Final Cut. I don't know how many times I can say this. Don't be throwing filters on for the heck of it. If you're putting a filter on your audio or your video, it should be for a purpose. It should be because it needs to be there, not to fix a screw up in the shooting, but because it's lending itself to the story itself. Like, it is a part of that. Don't use it as something that's going to dress up, you know, a less than perfect piece. Use it for a reason. Use it for effect, not for, you know, wowing people. That's all I can say about that. All right, we're pushing 30 minutes on this one, so hope you learned a lot. Hope that you're able to take this into your editing. I guess I will finish by saying, rock on, one and all. Okay, simple as that. That's some